We try to erase history every day.
Essa aqui foi uma das colônias britânicas mais ricas do mundo.
When you think about the conditions American slaves were put into, the fact that they didn't lose faith, they didn't lose their culture.
The brutalities of slavery, the reality that it was a moment and that we are still living under that same type of colonization and violence, it has simply evolved.
You're talking about nothing really changing except the way it looks.
Yeah.
Right? But it's still the same business of selling the story of enslaving a people.
Just being in the door of no return, looking out on the waters, people left through that door and never came back. So let's learn from our history instead of trying to cover it up.
É impossível falar sobre a história dos Estados Unidos sem levar em consideração o fato de que esse país, assim como o Brasil, foi construído em cima de muito sacrifício e muito suor de milhares de africanos que foram trazidos para cá nos séculos XVIII e XIX. Dos mais ou menos 500 mil africanos que vieram para cá, mais da metade entrou nesse país por um porto no estado onde eu estou agora, Carolina do Sul. Essa comunidade contribuiu muito para o aspecto cultural, para a música, para a arte, para a culinária que a gente vê hoje em dia na costa leste americana. E, na minha opinião, essa comunidade acabou sendo um dos grupos mais únicos e mais singulares da sociedade americana, os Gullah. Eu acho que existe essa ilusão de que os colonizadores nos séculos XVIII e XIX pegavam um monte de gente na África e espalhavam eles pelo mundo. Não era bem assim. Era tudo muito consciente, era uma estratégia. Eles iam a partes da África que sabiam cultivar arroz e traziam essas pessoas, essa mão de obra, esse talento para lugares onde aquela indústria podia prosperar. Então foi o caso aqui na Carolina do Sul. Se você sabia cultivar arroz, você vinha para a Carolina do Sul. Se você sabia cultivar tabaco, você ia para a Carolina do Norte, algodão para a Geórgia. Agora, esse lugar girava em torno do arroz. Houve ano em que eles cultivaram mais de 7.000 toneladas de arroz em um ano. Ou seja, isso é muito dinheiro. Esse era um lugar muito próspero. Mas, com certeza, esse dinheiro não foi para o bolso dos escravos.
This is the main field at Brook Green Plantation. Brook Green Gardens was established on the grounds of 4 former rice plantations. Brook Green Plantation was one of them, and this is main field, or the main rice field. The enslaved Africans would work here and on the other rice fields, and they would go out on the boats, bateau boats, and they would be hauling the rice, planting, as well as sowing and flooding the rice fields.
Let me just clarify this. Can I just say Gullah, or do I always have to say Gullah Geechee?
Well, for years, Gullah was a term used to define a demographic of those enslaved Africans and their descendants who lived in the current states of South Carolina and North Carolina, which had been the Carolina colony. Geechee was the term used for the same demographic, more or less, but who live in Georgia and Florida, which evolved from the Georgia colony. It was determined, well, the language, the foodways, the practices, they are the same. That's the reasoning behind the change, to let our own community members, as well as those outside of our community, realize that we are one and the same. We're one people.
Charleston é uma das cidades mais históricas e, na minha opinião, uma das cidades mais charmosas hoje em dia aqui nos Estados Unidos. Foi fundada em 1670, mas teve uma história muito complicada com relação ao tráfico de escravos. Na verdade, Charleston e Savannah, que fica a 1 hora daqui, foram os 2 portos onde a gente viu o maior número de escravos vindo da África. Essa cidade tem mais de 2.500 edifícios tombados. Esse aqui é um dos mais famosos. Aqui, escravos eram comprados e vendidos. Hoje é um museu dedicado a essa época trágica da história desse lugar.
It's magic that we have done what we have done. I do a lot of programs. I go to schools all the time. I'm a storyteller, you know, that's what I do. And I say to the children, you know, we were pushed on these boats with what appeared to be nothing. You could have said we came with nothing, but that would not be true, because we came with our knowledge, with our skills and our beliefs, and that was the most important thing about us. And that's why this country is wealthy, because of our knowledge and our talents and our skills and our beliefs. That is why. That is why I, today, walk and talk and live as I do, because my ancestors brought here everything we needed. So when I am in places like when we went to Bonds Island, my whole family, which is, you know, the slave castle on the coast of Sierra Leone, and I stepped on the island and I was waiting for, you know, for sadness or heartbreak. I had none of that. I was a free woman stepping on the place where we began. And I felt a sense of peace. It's how I feel when I'm in places like this. Like my ancestors are saying, okay, you are who we were for. You're our reason.
Our ancestors were very intentional about us becoming aware of them right now. Their dreams are wilder and wider for us than we could have imagined, and certainly this white supremacist patriarchal capitalist system could have told us. And we continue to survive really horrendous things, not only with grace, but with the awareness that we can make different choices. I am, of course, continuously inspired by African people and our descendants, the ways that we are resilient, the ways that we maintain our magic, the ways that we evolve and create community.
Esse lugar tem uma conexão inusitada com um país no continente africano. No final do século XVIII, quando milhares de escravos começaram a ser libertados em colônias britânicas, os ingleses levaram esses escravos para a Serra Leoa. E aquele lugar foi conhecido como Província da Liberdade. E muitos dos escravos que aqui estavam no fim do século XVIII acabaram se mudando para lá. Por isso, tantos Gulahites hoje sentem a necessidade, a obrigação de, por respeito aos seus antepassados, ir até aquele país.
What was that experience like going to Sierra Leone?
It was wonderful. I saw people who looked like my father's people. You know, same nose, same eyes. There were goats in people's yards, and people were toting or carrying firewood on their heads. Those are things from my childhood. I found out that they thought, because of my features, that I was African. They did not think I was African American, which is an important part of our heritage.
It's undeniable that African Americans have dealt with injustice and still deal with injustice. There is a vast debate nowadays about reparations. Now, how do you guys feel about that?
I certainly feel like descendants of enslaved people across the globe, and certainly in the United States, are owed repair in all and every way. From housing to health care to mental health care to having the resources that every single human being needs to survive. It is also the reality that if Black people were given care and repair, it would only elevate the society and everyone else. That we can't even fathom what a world looks like where there aren't people on the bottom, where there aren't people who are pushed furthest out to the margins. So Yes, African-descended people are certainly owed in every way. There is not a way that we are not owed more care across the globe.
By no fault, feel I journey on. Come this far, by no fault, feel I journey on. To know I am sometimes up, I'm sometimes down. Feel I journey on. Sometimes most level to the ground. Feel I journey on. Feel like journey on.
Ostras, cheguei! Oh my God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you so much. Não sei o que acontece quando tem ostra por perto. Glória, glória, aleluia. Então, esse lugar aqui em Charleston é famoso por oferecer algumas das melhores ostras locais, né? Melhores ostras da região. Na verdade, esse hábito de comer ostras nos Estados Unidos, acredite se quiser, começou aqui. Os escravos, os Gullah, eram responsáveis pelo cultivo, pela extração das ostras no inverno e pela extração, por todo o processo relacionado aos caranguejos no verão. Sem eles, a gente não sabe se a ostra seria tão popular quanto ela é hoje nos Estados Unidos. E, na verdade, no século XVIII e XIX, ostra não era nobre, era uma coisa, assim, super barata, popular. Tinha carrinho de ostra na rua. E agora você vê que se tornou um hábito muito mais nobre. Pronto para a próxima. A próxima matéria, para o próximo entrevistado, para o próximo bloco, para o próximo banquete de ostras. Meu Deus do céu. No interior de Serra Leoa, fala-se um idioma conhecido como Crio. Crio é uma mistura de várias línguas de origem africana e o inglês. E o Crio ele é muito parecido com o Geechee, que é a língua usada pelos Gullah. Durante muito tempo, falar Geechee era motivo de vergonha. E hoje, Geechee é ensinado na Universidade de Harvard. Existe essa consciência de que durante muitas décadas a contribuição cultural dessa comunidade foi absolutamente ignorada, né? Eles eram invisíveis. E hoje a gente vê que isso está mudando. I mean, I'm afraid to mess up your work of art. It's just like you should be. Okay.
Between the two slots.
So once I get here, you can see it's peeking out.
Yeah.
I pull it out. Okay. Oh man, that's way too skinny. It's not gonna fit. Or maybe it will.
Uh-oh.
Check this out.
Oh, and he did it good. You didn't have to take it down or anything.
Man, I am proud. I'm gonna do one more.
Okay, okay. This basket is called the Gullah basket. These grass has been found along the corridor from Florida to North Carolina.
Yeah, this one is gorgeous.
Thank you.
What triggered this passion, this interest for making baskets, for weaving?
Actually, it's not a passion. Growing up, it was a must, something that we had to do once we learned how to do it right. We started off doing just the basic bottoms. All the children had to do like the bottom of the basket. Then our mom would bull up the basket to, yes, and then make different styles to go out and sell it. You know, at one point we had to go door to door. In fact, one of my brothers, he used to make the rolls really big because we had to make a certain size bottom every day. So he used to make the rolls really big so he can get through quickly so he can just go and play. Whereas me, I would do the rolls smaller, kind of like this. So I'd be there all day making the rolls that tiny. This is my mom. And she, to me, was like one of the best basket makers ever. She would take her hands, run it across to make sure that it's smooth. Make sure nothing's sticking out. And she would just go in there and she would take everything out that's flawed to make it perfect. That picture, of course, is one of the slave ships that took the slave from Bunce Island, I said to the ocean, and put them on the ship, of course, to come to South Carolina. Here it is, you got a group of people, they're pounding these rice. They're going out in the field in the mud. You know, rice is in a field where there's lots of water. You have water moccasins, you have alligators, and they're going and picking these rice and then bringing it, pounding the rice, just so South Carolina and other states can get rich, and they did. When I went to Bunce Island, and you know, that's where a lot of the Africans were kept while being waited to go to the slave ships. And just being in the door of no return, looking out on the waters, it's like people left through that door and never came back. That was one of the most emotional times in my life when I was in Bunce Island. I mean, really, you can just like hear the spirits, even hear them singing. Why they were singing? Not sure. Probably to relieve stress of what's going to happen to them, what is happening to them. There are some spots that I went to when I was at Goree Island, and I would go inside where they kept the trouble slaves, the slaves who were troublemakers, and you're looking at a space that was small, like this corner, and the height of that cave-like area. I had to bend over. I'm 5'3". So just imagine being in there, squashed together with like 20 other people. And the window was so small.
When you talk about your home, your land, where you come from, what comes to mind?
Baskets, really. Baskets come to mind. as well as the clothing. It's the music, food, all the food.
John?
How you
Pedro.
doing? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. Really nice.
Yeah, this is our home away from home. This is Grandma's place.
Really?
Yeah. Matter of fact, Gillies is named after my grandmother. So.
Did you learn how to cook with your grandma?
I did. I learned from the time I was knee-high to her apron. You know, as a small child, smelling and tasting all this wonderful food in the family gatherings, I was able, you know, it was just like, I want to know how you do this. And so I was attached to her from then on. This is our grandma wall.
Oh, wow.
This is my Portuguese side of the family. It's my grandfather, Andrew, and my grandma, Rose.
I love that.
That's my dad's parents. This is Larice Gilliard, my grandmother, who the restaurant is named after. That's actually me and my middle brother, Mario.
Oh, my
and then
God.
our family kind of spreads out from there. And then so what we did when we opened the place, there was like these 4 pictures. And we told folks that came in to eat, you know, bring a picture of your grandmother, I'll put it on the wall, you know. And so we have grandmothers from all over the place.
That is such a good idea. Can I see the kitchen?
Yeah, come on back. This is where we make the magic.
Não, essa combinação não tem como dar errado, né? Sabores do oeste da África que vieram para os Estados Unidos, Gullah, que essa cultura é famosa pela culinária no sul dos Estados Unidos, e o sangue português.
So we're gonna start with onions, peppers, and sausage. That's just smoked sausage, a little butter, shrimp, Charleston shrimp. We're gonna add that. We're gonna add some oysters. These are select oysters, real nice size. Some okra, and then crawfish. We're gonna add a little seasoning to that.
Smells amazing.
I can't wait for you to try it. We're gonna add rice, and you know, rice was the crop. You know, West African slaves cultivated and grew rice over there, so that when they were brought over here, they were masters at doing. So
Absolutely.
It makes me proud, you know, that through all the hardship and adversity, they were able to kind of keep their culture and.
Oh my gosh.
Because you know that whole culture part of it could have been completely stripped from them.
Yeah. I love that sound.
That's a wonderful sound.
Oh my God.
We get it nice and piled high there.
I mean,
This is some of the magic, my man. This is some of the magic.
wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so what do we have here?
Okay, well, we've got a couple of our favorite dishes here. These are our signature soul rolls. It's collard greens, it's red rice, it's house-made pimento cheese, and it's pulled pork. And it's rolled, deep fried. This is, of course, our iconic shrimp and grits, which is a staple on most southern menus. And this is our seafood perla that we prepared.
I want to try that.
Yeah.
So I dip here.
Dip in there, and I'll join you as well there. My grandmother would do these Sunday dinners, and it was a big spread. It was, I mean, just, you couldn't imagine the amount of food. But I always thought it was funny. She never ate when everyone else was eating because she's been cooking all day. Last thing, she's like, I've been nibbling the whole time I've been cooking, so she would never eat with us. I mean, she would sit down and enjoy, but she got the same enjoyment I do when I see people eat the food and enjoy it. And so
Well,
that's some of my best memories.
these shrimps
The shrimp are out of this world. No.
are no joke. This part of the country has become a bit of a foodie haven. People come from all over the world to come here, Charleston. How much of it has to do with the Gullah Geechees?
A lot of it. I mean, if you look at kind of the main staple of restaurants, the big name ones have most of the southern staples on their menus. You know, you'll see shrimp and grits, you'll see street crab soup, you'll see red rice, and those are all African dishes.
One last question. What do you want people to get up from this table with? Like, what do you want them to take from your restaurant, from your food?
I want people to get up from the table after eating here at Gilley's having created a food memory, meaning something that I served you reminded you of a time with Grandma, or even just the memories that we have right here. You know, I sat down with Pedro and had a wonderful meal, and so the next time I see shrimp and grits on a menu, or I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna think about Gilley's, I'm gonna go back and think about that time that we had a wonderful experience. So I want people to create memories with my food. And I think that would be the greatest testament to my grandmother.
I won't forget that.
Cheers.
You guys have to dig in. Seria impossível visitar só um lugar para conhecer um pouco mais sobre a realidade dos Gullah Geechee. E agora eu estou em Santa Helena, que na verdade foi o lugar onde a maior comunidade de Gullah Geechees existiu. Ainda é um lugar muito associado a essa comunidade, esse estilo de vida, essa língua, essa cultura. E nada mais adequado que falar com uma pessoa que é vista como, de certa maneira, uma líder dos Gullah Geechee, conhecida como Queen Quet, uma pessoa respeitada, admirada por muitos membros dessa comunidade. Então eu estou indo até Santa Helena, quer dizer, eu acho que a gente já chegou, para falar com ela. Good morning.
Oh, hola.
Hi, I'm Pedro. How's it going?
So this is Nina.
Okay, and what's your name?
And that Olu.
Where are you from originally?
Oh, I'm from St. Helena Island.
Here?
Right here, yes.
What was it like growing up here?
Very peaceful, very quiet. Everybody knows everybody. You think you're kin to everybody because I have hundreds to thousands of cousins on St. Helena, and my family farm, they fish, they hunt. They make quilts, all of that. Yeah. So growing up, you see this stuff, but you think everybody does it. Yeah. You know, it's not until you get older and you find out, no, everybody can't make no cast net, nobody's sewing no quilt. So then you start realizing, wow, it's different somewhere else. So here, it was common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At what point were you aware of Gullah Geechee culture? Was it something that was, you know, as far as you can remember, as a baby, did your parents tell you about it?
No, nobody sits you down and says, oh, you're Gullah Geechee. That doesn't happen. I believe we become more aware once it got to school, public school. And so when you would get in a class where the teachers were not Gullah Geechee, and one of the kids might say, get out that thing, put that window down. And excuse me, what is that you're doing? Stop that. And you're like, stop what? Like, you're confused, like, what are we supposed to stop? I just wanted her to get, and then somebody else will say something, get down that thing. That is not what you're supposed to say. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And then after a while, we had teachers that issued corporal punishment because people were speaking in Gullah or Geechee.
Wow.
That's when I became aware that we really were different. America has a thing called the melting pot. That's their theme, which means we're going to pretty much annihilate all other cultures. We're going to blend you into one amalgam. Well, that's not correct. We prefer the salad bowl analogy. You can have the tomato, the lettuce, you can have onions, you can have croutons, you can have whatever you like. You can still see each one of those things and appreciate them for the flavor, the color, the taste, the texture. But if we throw it all in a blender, it becomes a blob, and we're like, okay, what's in here, right? You know, and it definitely doesn't have the same flavor. And that's what America has done to people of color in general, but especially with Gullah Geechees, because they consider us the most African group. We have the most Africanisms still in place of any other group.
What was it like for you learning about your ancestors, about your history? Do you remember how that hit you?
Oh, absolutely. It didn't hit me. It didn't have to hit me. It was more like how this ocean is out here right now. It just flowed in nicely because in my family, everybody was always proud of who we were. So every time I come out here to the ocean and I look in this direction, I'm looking back to Gullah, the motherland, to Mother Africa. I know that somewhere on that side, someone's looking back this way. But in between, this is the Middle Passage. In between, there are bones that lay down there. There are shackles still attached and amidst those bones. There are enslavement vessels and wreckages that are in there because somebody on board had the sense, had what we say the mother with anything like that, had the will to still fight even on the journey when they realized they were being kidnapped, when they realized they couldn't see land for miles around because they knew where they were headed wasn't back home. So every time I come here, I see that, I feel their energy. For we who remember them and remember who they be, that we would be the generation that never forgets them, that will always speak their names. And as long as a man or woman's name is spoken, they yet live. So my ancestors are with me every day, all day. And when I come here, I don't come here to recreate. I don't come here to relax. I come here to honor them and pay tribute because as much as I fight for burial areas and graveyards along the marsh, I know that this Atlantic Ocean is yet another sacred area, a sacred ground, because their bones and their energy and their power is amidst every wave.
What do you think the world out there needs to learn from the Gullah Geechees?
Woo, the world out there can learn plenty from the Gullah Geechees. Because I thought about this, in fact, yesterday, that the difference between my people and others in the world is communal living. Knowing that you may be born on an island, but no man or woman is an island, that you are always going to need somebody else. So that individualism, that narcissism, that cutthroat capitalistic means that the world is pushing is a bad drug. And people are going to die from that so quick. I know 100-plus-year-old Gullah Geechee people. And the reason they are who they are is because they have the love of multiple generations always around them all the time. And so from the Lili Chillin' to the oldest person, we all work together. And we even have a song, Work Together Chillin'. And that is something that people should learn.
I think your language is really beautiful and unique.
Thank you.
Did your parents speak
Gullah?
Yes. So your first language was probably Gullah?
Well, it's funny when people say that because I guess I had both.
Okay.
Because this is a typical thing that go on in a Gullah Geechee household. Hello? Oh, how are you? Oh, no, they're not here right now. Oh, yes, I will let them know when they come home. Okay, then, bye-bye. Click. Yeah, look, y'all. People want to crack in there. I ain't know you call your phone. I ain't supposed to want to I ain't got no money. Think like that gal ain't coming here. I ain't gonna tell nothing to all. Boom. So, like, this went on all the time. So, like, my whole life, we heard both, but really didn't distinguish them as different things because they were just always in our, atmosphere, so we say. But like I said, at school, that was the delineation, though, that you knew These teachers here don't want us to do this thing that we do at home. I know full well with a computer science degree, a mathematics degree, graduating with honors, working in corporate America where I could have been there with my nice sweater on, making 6 figures every day, all right, just doing that in a cold computer lab. God called me home to do this. And doing this has taken me around the world and has brought the world like you to me. So there ain't nothing else for me to be but optimistic, because I know I'm blessed. And I know who I be, and that we be Gullah Geechee anointed people.
They'll be shouting, they'll be shouting, over we. I be on a sleigh, I go be bury my gun, I'm going home to my God and be free. Woo!
Esses dias aqui, nessa região do país, na Carolina do Sul e na Geórgia, me ensinaram muitas coisas, mas talvez uma das maiores lições seja o fato de que na escola a gente fala sobre escravos de uma maneira quase estereotipada, uma maneira que desumaniza essas pessoas, né? Quando você fala os escravos no século XVIII, a gente corre o risco de se distanciar e de ficar um pouco imune, um pouco anestesiado. A gente esquece que esses escravos, eles eram médicos, eles eram professores, eles eram pais, eles eram filhos, eles tinham uma vida. Seria equivocado da minha parte dizer que o mundo não evoluiu. Evoluiu. Há mais representatividade, há mais visibilidade, mas com esses direitos recentemente dados merecidamente à comunidade negra, vem também um receio de outras comunidades de que elas possam perder sua posição na sociedade, como se a gente vivesse numa estante e que, para que esse objeto estivesse aqui, você tivesse que tirar esse daqui. E a vida não é isso, né? Existe lugar para todo mundo.
What does it mean if we have everything we need? Because capitalism does not allow us to imagine what if everyone just had what they needed? Well, imagine what we would do if we all had our needs met. We could use everything we have inside to do something else. And that excites me.
Ready? I think if we could get racism under control, I just think it'd be better for everybody. Because it doesn't take much to treat your fellow man right. Remember the golden rule, do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. And I think if everybody follows that rule, we'll be all right. We'll be able to live in harmony.
During the 18th and 19th century, about 500,000 Africans were dragged here as slaves. Almost 6 million were brought to Brazil. They've been mistreated, disrespected, ignored for decades. What advice would you, in your position, have for them?
We're freedom fighters. Keep fighting. Hold on to your culture and your tradition. God made no mistakes making us who we are. Be proud of it. Hold on and keep fighting.